I watched the presentation screen, my pulse quickening as Stephanie confidently clicked to the next slide. There it was, my quarterly market analysis displayed for the entire executive team to see, but with angry red circles highlighting supposed errors in my calculations. The charts I'd spent 3 months perfecting were being torn apart before my eyes like a ship under enemy fire. As you can clearly observe, Stephanie announced, her voice dripping with professional concern, these projections deviate significantly from standard forecasting models. She gestured to a side-by-side comparison where my data visualizations appeared wildly different from textbook examples. The boardroom felt like a submarine taking on water as 12 pairs of senior executives leaned forward in their chairs. I remained completely still, my tie knot perfectly centered despite the torpedo hitting amidships. My hands rested flat on the mahogany table's smooth surface, the texture grounding me while my career threatened to sink. The volatility patterns shown here, she continued, pointing to my custom design charts, completely misrepresent actual market conditions. When plotted against traditional indicators, you can see the dramatic inconsistencies. Director Crawford removed his glasses, rubbing the bridge of his nose. The conference room's air conditioning hummed steadily, but I could feel the temperature rising with each pointed criticism. And you're certain about this assessment? Absolutely, Stephanie replied without hesitation. I've run the numbers myself using industry-standard methodologies. The discrepancies are substantial and frankly concerning. My name is Bill Garrett, and at 47 years old, I'd spent 22 years navigating the treacherous waters of financial analysis at Keystone Investments. I wasn't the type to chart aggressive courses or promote myself like a rookie ensign fresh from business school. Instead, I let my work speak for itself. Innovative approaches to market data that consistently delivered superior results for our clients. I grew up in a Navy family where speaking up meant being told to secure your position and maintain silence. My father served 30 years, retiring as a chief petty officer, and he taught me early to observe, analyze, and wait for the right moment to make my move. This patience had served me well in my career, allowing me to spot market patterns others missed while my louder colleagues rushed to judgment like destroyers chasing false sonar contacts. The leather portfolio beside my coffee cup contained 3 months of meticulous work, calculations that had kept me at the office until 9 p.m. most nights, while my wife Sarah waited dinner for me back home in our Westchester suburb. Our mortgage payments on the Colonial with the harbor view depended on this promotion, and retirement planning for our daughter's college tuition hung in the balance. When I joined Keystone after completing a successful tour with Merrill Lynch's San Diego office, I was determined to succeed on merit alone. For years, I'd watched skilled navigators get passed over for promotions because they weren't aggressive enough in corporate waters. I promised myself I wouldn't let that happen to me. At Keystone, I slowly built my reputation by taking on challenging accounts others avoided and turning them into victories. My analytical approach wasn't conventional. I developed my own forecasting models that spotted market trends weeks before standard Bloomberg terminal indicators caught them. My clients appreciated the edge this gave them in volatile markets, even if some of my colleagues questioned my unorthodox methods. Stephanie joined the company 2 years after me transferred from our Chicago branch office. From day one, she was everything I wasn't: outspoken, politically savvy, and determined to climb the corporate ladder at any cost. Where I spent evenings perfecting risk assessments and volatility calculations, she spent them networking with executives at Roosevelt Hotel industry mixers. Where I focused on client results and portfolio performance, she focused on visibility and face time with senior management. We were opposites in every way. Yet strangely, we developed what I thought was a professional alliance over shared late nights at the office. I respected her confidence and business school polish, and she seemed genuinely impressed by my technical abilities and market intuition. When she asked detailed questions about my proprietary forecasting methods, I'd share my thinking openly, believing we were supporting each other like officers serving on the same vessel. The smooth marble of the conference table felt cold under my palms as I watched my credibility being systematically destroyed. 3 months earlier, this same boardroom had buzzed with excitement when Crawford announced the Wellington opportunity. Wellington Asset Management, the largest private equity firm in the tri-state area, had selected Keystone to handle their quarterly market forecasting, a prestigious assignment worth $2.8 million in annual fees. Director Crawford announced that whoever successfully led this account would be promoted to senior analyst with a 40% salary increase, corner office privileges, and leadership responsibilities for a team of 6 junior analysts. I wanted that promotion desperately. Not just for the additional $85,000 salary that would finally let me pay off the boat loan and start seriously funding our retirement accounts. It represented validation, proof that steady seamanship and technical excellence could triumph over flashy maneuvering and political games. When Crawford assigned both Stephanie and me to the initial client meeting at Wellington's Manhattan headquarters, I knew we were being evaluated head-to-head for the senior position. Wellington's representatives were unlike typical institutional clients. Their head of quantitative research, Dr. Preston Caldwell, held a PhD in applied mathematics from MIT and had spent an hour during our first meeting discussing cutting-edge forecasting methodologies that most Wall Street firms hadn't even heard of. He explained that traditional regression analysis and Monte Carlo simulations had failed to predict several recent market disruptions that cost Wellington's clients nearly $180 million in unrealized gains. "We're looking for fresh approaches beyond the standard playbook," Dr. Caldwell had said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "Our internal research suggests nonlinear volatility patterns contain predictive signals that conventional Garch models miss entirely." I felt like I'd found safe harbor in rough seas. This was exactly what my personal research had focused on for years during weekend hours at home. When I shared some preliminary thoughts about chaos theory applications in market analysis, Dr. Caldwell leaned forward with genuine interest. Stephanie, meanwhile, looked increasingly uncomfortable as the conversation ventured beyond the standard curriculum they teach at Wharton. After the 90-minute meeting in Wellington's glass-walled conference room overlooking Central Park, Crawford pulled me aside near the elevator bank. "Wellington was impressed with your unconventional thinking, Bill. They specifically requested that you lead the analysis phase." Stephanie's smile tightened when she overheard the news, but she congratulated me warmly and professionally. "I'll handle all client communications and account management while you focus on the technical work," she offered. "We'll make a great team, your analytical skills combined with my relationship management." For the next 3 months, I poured everything into developing custom visualization tools that could capture the market patterns Wellington wanted to track. I tested my models against historical data from the 2008 financial crisis, the 2020 pandemic crash, and various Fed announcement periods. The algorithms I developed successfully predicted 84% of significant market movements from the previous 5 years, far exceeding the 61% accuracy of traditional econometric approaches. The work consumed my evenings and weekends. Sarah would find me at the kitchen table at midnight, laptop glowing, surrounded by printouts of correlation matrices and volatility charts. "You're going to burn out," she warned more than once, but I could see the finish line. Success with Wellington would secure our family's financial future. When Stephanie asked about my progress during our weekly status meetings, I shared everything openly. She seemed fascinated, asking detailed technical questions about methodology and requesting copies of my working papers. I explained each innovation proudly, believing she was helping bridge communications between my technical team and the client while I focused on perfecting the mathematical models. What I didn't realize was that she'd stopped sharing my progress updates with Wellington weeks earlier. Instead, she'd been meeting privately with Director Crawford every Tuesday at 4 p.m., expressing carefully crafted concerns about my unconventional approach. She built her case methodically, positioning herself as the responsible professional trying to prevent a potential disaster. She told Crawford my methods were steering dangerously off course from accepted financial practices, that my models relied on untested algorithms that could expose Keystone to regulatory scrutiny. The presentation ambush in the boardroom had been her masterstroke, positioning herself as the seasoned navigator saving the company from my reckless course plotting. Her PowerPoint slides were meticulously prepared, each criticism calculated for maximum impact, and it had worked perfectly until my single question changed everything. The boardroom remained silent after I asked Stephanie to explain why Wellington had specifically requested my visualization approach. Her confident expression faltered for just a moment, a crack in her composure that only someone who'd sailed rough seas could recognize. "I'm not aware of any such specific request," she replied, recovering quickly with the smooth delivery of someone trained in crisis management. "The client expected industry-standard analysis using proven methodologies." I reached into my leather briefcase and retrieved a bound document, sliding it across the polished conference table towards CEO Margaret Phillips. The paper felt substantial under my fingers, 47 pages of detailed specifications that represented months of collaborative planning. "This is Wellington's initial project brief," I said, my voice steady despite feeling like I was navigating through a minefield. "Page 17 outlines their specific requirements for nonlinear volatility tracking and chaos theory applications. Exactly the methodology I implemented, and that Miss Walsh just spent an hour criticizing as fundamentally flawed." CEO Phillips opened the document, her reading glasses catching the overhead fluorescent lighting as she scanned the pages with increasing interest. The room's ventilation system hummed quietly while 12 executives waited for her assessment. "Wellington's quantitative team has been researching these advanced patterns for 2 years," I continued, feeling the conference room's leather chair arms smooth beneath my palms. What appears to be analytical errors to someone using traditional Black-Scholes models are actually pattern recognition innovations they specifically commissioned. Dr. Caldwell's team ran extensive backtesting before requesting this approach. Director Crawford reached across the table for the document, his expression shifting as he absorbed the technical specifications. I could see him processing the implications. If my methods were actually client-mandated rather than rogue experimentation, then Stephanie's entire presentation had been based on false premises. "Is this documentation accurate?" Crawford asked, his tone more cautious now. "Dr. Caldwell can verify everything," I replied. "I've been in weekly strategy sessions with their quantitative team throughout this project. We have email chains, meeting minutes, and progress reports dating back 3 months. I assumed everyone at leadership level was aware of Wellington's specialized requirements." Stephanie started to speak, but CEO Phillips raised her hand in a gesture that commanded immediate silence. Her navy blazer seemed to underscore the maritime nature of the crisis we were navigating. Stephanie's usually composed face betrayed the first flickers of panic, the look of someone who realized their carefully plotted course was heading straight for the rocks. "You've just spent an hour explaining how you've corrected analytical methods that Wellington specifically commissioned," I said, looking directly at Stephanie across the mahogany table. "I'm curious, have you informed Dr. Caldwell that you've replaced their proprietary research approach with standard econometric models they explicitly rejected 3 months ago?" The tension in the room was palpable, like the calm before a hurricane. Director Crawford flipped through the brief, his expression darkening with each page of technical specifications. The document contained detailed mathematical formulas, statistical confidence intervals, and performance benchmarks that supported everything I'd developed. "There must be some misunderstanding," Stephanie attempted, her voice pitched slightly higher than her usual professional tone. "These experimental methods are untested in real market conditions. No serious institutional investor would risk their portfolios on unproven algorithms." Page 12, I interrupted calmly, pointing to a specific section in the bound document, Wellington's backtesting results comparing traditional models with their experimental approach. Standard forecasting methodologies caught 61% of significant market movements during the 2020-2022 period. Their enhanced approach identified 84% of major volatility events and provided 72 hours earlier warning signals on average. CEO Phillips looked up sharply from the document, her expression indicating she was processing the competitive implications. "These performance metrics are verified. Dr. Caldwell can confirm all testing procedures and results," I said. "I've documented every discussion about their methodology requirements. We have recorded conference calls and shared Google Drive folders with their team. The entire collaboration has been transparent and well documented." Director Crawford closed the brief, his face unreadable, but clearly concerned about the disconnect between what Stephanie had presented and what the client had actually requested. The smooth surface of the conference table reflected the overhead lights as he considered the implications. "I think we need to pause this discussion and verify some key information," he said finally. "Stephanie, Bill, thank you both for your presentations. The executive team needs to discuss this situation privately and contact Wellington directly for clarification." As we filed out of the boardroom, I felt the carpet's thick pile beneath my feet, a small detail that somehow grounded me after the intensity of the confrontation. Stephanie moved quickly toward the elevator bank, but then gripped my arm and pulled me into an empty conference room. Her carefully constructed professional poise had completely vanished. "What kind of game are you playing?" she hissed, closing the door behind us. "You made me look incompetent in front of the entire leadership team." I gently removed her hand from my arm, straightening my tie with deliberate precision. The fabric felt familiar and reassuring after the chaos of the boardroom. I simply clarified the client's actual requirements and provided documentation to support my approach. "We both know Wellington would never approve those experimental models in a real portfolio," she said, smoothing her blazer and attempting to regain her composure. "You're just trying to save face after developing methods that no legitimate firm would implement." I studied her face for a moment, wondering how I'd missed the depth of her deception. The fluorescent lighting cast harsh shadows that revealed the strain she was trying to conceal. "Dr. Caldwell personally requested this approach in our first meeting. You were sitting right there when he explained why traditional models had failed them." "That's not how I remember that conversation," she replied, her expression shifting back to professional concern, "and it won't be how Director Crawford remembers it either. We've had multiple discussions about your tendency toward creative interpretation of client requirements." A chill ran through me as I realized how thoroughly she'd worked to undermine my position. For weeks, she'd been laying groundwork with leadership, positioning herself as the voice of reason while painting me as someone who couldn't be trusted with major client relationships. "You should prepare yourself for what's coming," she added, her voice taking on a tone of artificial sympathy that made my skin crawl. Even if they don't terminate you outright for this mess, your reputation at Keystone is finished. No one will trust an analyst who can't follow basic financial principles and creates unnecessary drama in client relationships. She left me standing alone in the empty conference room, her confident stride suggesting she still believed victory was inevitable. The sound of her heels clicking against the marble floor echoed as she headed toward the elevator. Perhaps she was right to feel confident. In a straight battle between her political connections and my technical expertise, corporate history suggested the smooth talkers usually won. That evening, I sat on my boat's deck at the Larchmont Yacht Club, watching the harbor lights flicker on as twilight deepened over Long Island Sound. The gentle rocking motion of the 32-foot sailboat usually calmed my nerves, but tonight the familiar rhythm felt like a countdown to career disaster. My phone buzzed with a text from Director Crawford. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. with Wellington representatives present. Prepare all relevant documentation. I barely slept that night, replaying every interaction with Stephanie over the past months. How many times had she asked detailed questions about my proprietary algorithms only to use that intelligence against me? How many private strategy sessions had she arranged with Crawford while I worked late perfecting risk calculations? The betrayal cut deeper because I genuinely believed we were sailing toward the same destination. The next morning, I arrived at Keystone's offices 30 minutes early to find the main conference room already being prepared for what felt like a court-martial. Director Crawford nodded tersely as I entered, his usual morning coffee replaced by what looked like his third espresso of the day. Stephanie arrived precisely on time, impeccably dressed in a charcoal gray suit and carrying a leather portfolio that suggested she'd prepared additional ammunition for the meeting. At exactly 9 a.m., Dr. Preston Caldwell from Wellington entered with two colleagues, CFO Janet Morrison and Senior Portfolio Manager David Kim. The atmosphere immediately shifted to something more formal and high stakes than a routine client check-in. "Thank you all for convening on short notice," Director Crawford began, his voice betraying none of the stress that had to be building behind his professional demeanor. "We have a significant situation that requires immediate clarification regarding the Wellington quarterly forecasting project methodology. Dr. Caldwell has graciously agreed to provide Wellington's perspective on recent developments." Dr. Caldwell placed his iPad on the conference table, his expression serious but not hostile. Behind his wire-rimmed glasses, I could see the analytical mind that had earned him respect throughout the quantitative finance industry. I was quite disturbed to receive standardized market projections yesterday from Ms. Walsh, particularly after the innovative custom analytics that Mr. Garrett had been developing specifically for our portfolio requirements. Stephanie's head snapped up, her composure cracking for the first time since I'd known her. "Dr. Caldwell, I believe the alternative methodological approach needed significant revision to meet established industry standards and regulatory compliance requirements." "Industry standards are precisely what we contracted Keystone to move beyond," Dr. Caldwell interrupted, his tone remaining professional but firm. "As I made explicitly clear in our initial project brief and all subsequent communications, traditional forecasting models have consistently failed to identify the market anomalies most critical to our investment strategy. We're paying premium fees specifically to access innovative approaches." Director Crawford leaned forward, his hands folded on the mahogany table. "Dr. Caldwell, to be absolutely clear for our records, you specifically requested the nonlinear volatility modeling approach that Bill implemented. Not only did we request it, we insisted on it as a fundamental condition for awarding Keystone this contract," he confirmed, consulting notes on his tablet. "Mr. Garrett's methodology aligns perfectly with 2 years of internal research we've conducted on market pattern recognition." When Ms. Walsh sent standardized projections yesterday claiming they represented Keystone's official analysis, my immediate concern was that there had been a serious breakdown in communication. The room fell completely silent except for the subtle hum of the building's HVAC system. Stephanie's face had gone pale, and I noticed her hands trembling slightly as she reached for her water glass. CFO Morrison spoke for the first time, her voice carrying the authority of someone who managed $4.2 billion in assets. "We need absolute clarity on this situation. Wellington's investment committee approved this engagement based on specific analytical capabilities. If those capabilities are not being delivered as contracted, we have serious decisions to make about our provider relationship." "There seems to have been a significant internal miscommunication," CEO Phillips said carefully, having joined the meeting at some point during Dr. Caldwell's explanation. "Rest assured, Wellington will receive the custom analytics you commissioned, developed and delivered by Bill, who has been your primary point of contact on methodology throughout this engagement." After the Wellington team left for a scheduled meeting with another provider, Director Crawford asked me to remain while dismissing Stephanie with a curt HR will be scheduling a conversation with you this afternoon to discuss next steps. When we were alone, Crawford sighed heavily and removed his glasses to clean them. A gesture I'd learned meant he was processing something significant. This situation is unprecedented, Bill. Had Wellington actually implemented the standardized analysis Stephanie proposed without their knowledge, we would have lost our largest client and faced potential litigation for breach of contract. I nodded, saying nothing while feeling the smooth leather of my portfolio under my palms. I owe you a formal apology, he continued. I should have verified client requirements directly instead of accepting secondhand reports about your work. That's a failure of management oversight on my part. He paused, studying my face with the expression of someone recalibrating his assessment of a situation. Why didn't you speak up sooner about the discrepancies in what Stephanie was reporting versus what you were actually developing? I didn't realize there were discrepancies, I admitted. I thought we were collaborating effectively. She had full access to all my work while claiming to handle client communication strategy. I trusted that she was accurately representing our progress to leadership. He grimaced, the full scope of the deception becoming clear. A carefully orchestrated campaign to position herself for the promotion while undermining your client relationship. Quite sophisticated, actually. What happens now? I asked. The senior analyst position will be yours. Effective immediately, he said, his tone carrying the weight of a decision that had already been made at the executive level. Along with a 40% salary increase, corner office on the 23rd floor, and leadership responsibilities for the Wellington account team. As for Stephanie, HR will be conducting exit interviews with her this afternoon regarding her future employment status. It should have felt like total victory. The promotion was mine, my methodologies vindicated, my chief rival exposed and neutralized. Yet as I returned to my desk to begin the transition, I felt like I was sailing in dead calm waters. The trust I'd placed in a colleague, someone I'd considered a professional ally, had been weaponized against me in ways I was only beginning to understand. Throughout the afternoon, colleagues stopped by my workspace with congratulations tinged with curiosity. Word of the morning's dramatic reversal had spread rapidly through the office grapevine. Stephanie remained conspicuously absent, having left the building immediately after her HR meeting with what witnesses described as a box of personal items and a very pale complexion. At 5:30 p.m., as I was organizing files for my transition to the new role, my iPhone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "This isn't over, Bill. You got lucky today, but luck runs out eventually." I stared at the message, loosening my tie knot as the implications sank in. The tension I'd been carrying since the morning crystallized into something more complex than simple relief. This wasn't just professional rivalry that had been resolved. Stephanie had declared war, and defeated enemies don't always retreat quietly. The following weeks brought what should have been a smooth transition to senior responsibilities. I moved into my new corner office with its view of Manhattan's financial district and began building my team for an expanded Wellington relationship. But Stephanie hadn't simply disappeared. She'd been reassigned to internal risk assessment where direct client contact was prohibited, but she remained an employee with access to systems and building security. Strange incidents began occurring with unsettling frequency. Important emails would vanish from my sent folder. Crucial spreadsheets would contain formula errors that I absolutely had not made. Meeting calendar invitations would disappear overnight, causing me to miss important client calls. PowerPoint presentations would be subtly altered with slides rearranged and key data points modified. I began working later, implementing a system of triple-checking everything before sending it and maintaining backup copies of all files on encrypted external drives I kept locked in my desk drawer. The constant vigilance was exhausting but necessary for protecting my professional reputation. "You look like hell," my colleague Ryan Torres observed during our weekly coffee meeting at the Starbucks in the lobby. "Everything okay with the promotion?" I hesitated, then decided to trust someone who'd proven reliable over 8 years of working together. Someone sabotaging my work systematically. Small things individually, but they add up to potentially serious problems if I don't catch every incident. Ryan raised an eyebrow, his expression shifting to concern. "Stephanie, I can't prove it definitively," I admitted, "but who else would have both the technical knowledge and the motivation? Plus, she still has legitimate system access through her current role." "Be very careful," Ryan warned, lowering his voice. "I've heard she's been having regular lunch meetings with Margaret Phillips's executive assistant and several board members. She's spinning some narrative, positioning herself as the victim of office politics." This intelligence sent a chill through me. While I'd been focused on delivering exceptional results for Wellington, Stephanie had been working different angles, rebuilding her network, and crafting alternative versions of recent events. That afternoon, I discovered that my access privileges to several critical databases had been mysteriously downgraded. When I contacted IT support, they claimed to have received authorization from senior management to modify my system permissions as part of a routine security audit. It took 4 hours and 3 supervisor escalations to restore full access, causing me to miss an important deadline for Dr. Caldwell's team. When I finally delivered the quarterly volatility analysis at 8 p.m., Dr. Caldwell was understanding but clearly concerned about the pattern of delays. Is everything stable at Keystone? This is the third missed deadline in 2 weeks, which is unusual given your previous reliability. Just some internal system upgrade issues, I assured him, unwilling to air company problems with our most important client. We're working through the technical challenges, I understand, he replied, though his tone suggested incomplete satisfaction with my explanation. Just so you're aware, we've been approached by Criterion Analytics with an interesting proposal. They claim to have recently acquired a specialist in nonlinear volatility modeling who's familiar with our specific requirements. Normally, I wouldn't mention competitive outreach, but given these recent operational hiccups, my blood pressure spiked. Another firm? May I ask who they're claiming as their specialist? Someone named Stephanie Walsh, formerly with Keystone, he said. They're suggesting she developed the methodologies we're currently using and could implement them more efficiently at their firm. I managed to maintain professional composure through the remainder of our call, but internally I felt like my ship was taking on water. Criterion Analytics was Keystone's primary competitor for institutional clients, and Stephanie had obviously positioned herself as the architect of the very methodologies she'd publicly criticized just weeks earlier. That night, I conducted online research and quickly found what I was looking for. A Criterion Analytics press release announcing Stephanie's hiring as Director of Strategic Forecasting, a position 2 levels above what she'd held at Keystone. The announcement specifically highlighted her innovative approaches to market volatility prediction and proven track record with major institutional clients. The audacity was breathtaking, but the strategy was brilliant. She hadn't just studied my methods to sabotage me internally. She'd been preparing to market herself as the expert to our biggest competitor, positioning herself to steal Wellington's business while destroying my credibility through systematic operational sabotage. But as I sat on my boat deck that evening, watching the sunset paint Long Island Sound in shades of orange and red, something shifted in my thinking. I'd been playing defense while Stephanie executed offense. I'd been reacting to her moves instead of charting my own course. For weeks, she'd been operating with strategic thinking and political cunning while I relied on technical competence and professional ethics. Perhaps it was time to level the playing field by adopting her tactical approach while maintaining my commitment to truth. I opened my laptop and began researching the National Financial Analytics Conference scheduled for next month, where Stephanie would be delivering a keynote presentation titled Innovations in Nonlinear Volatility Forecasting. My methodologies presented as her original research. Sometimes the most effective response to betrayal isn't confrontation. It's ensuring the truth becomes visible to everyone who needs to see it. If you're a man who spent decades building expertise only to watch someone steal credit for your work, you know the rage that can consume you. But here's what I learned. The most satisfying revenge isn't destroying your enemy. It's letting them destroy themselves while you create an audience for their downfall. Have you ever caught someone taking credit for your achievements? The next time it happens, remember this: document everything, choose your moment carefully, and never underestimate the power of making the truth impossible to ignore. Because sometimes justice isn't about what you do to them, it's about what you help them do to themselves.